Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing one of my daily Q&A videos. The first question for this one is comparing Rick with Negan, and is Negan really the bad guy? I thought this was a good question and one I definitely want to touch on to start off the Q&A because I think it's interesting. In the comic book series version, I would say definitely. The TV series version is a little bit trickier because, of course, in season 6 we find out about Negan, we find out about what he does and what he forces groups to do, and of course, yeah, that's kind of evil to force people into to slavery to work for you. Otherwise, you're going to kill them. But I suppose if you got hungry enough, like Rick and their group, for example, Rick does ask Maggie to talk to Gregory. Now, why does he do that? My interpretation was because he would be worried, or he was worried that he would kind of lose control of himself and just kill Gregory and the others and just take everything. That's what I'm thinking at this point. And people have really different points of view on this, but I feel like since about season 5, we've met so many groups as we go through, and like when he first meets Aaron and he beats the crap out of him. At this point in time, especially after Terminus with the hunters, so to speak, Rick does not have a good vision of what the kind of outside person out there in the zombie apocalypse is like. And I think after killing so many different people, so many different survivors, I think he's become a little bit desensitized to it. And given enough starvation, I think he might actually, if Gregory's not willing to play ball, just threaten to kill him and take all his stuff if he doesn't give them at least some food and do some kind of trade. So, he could be kind of like Negan in a similar type of way to force Gregory to either work for him or even worse, to kill him and just take what he's got. I don't know if Rick would go to that extent. He asked Maggie to kind of do it, and she's able to cut a deal. If they didn't cut a deal, that would have been a little bit more tricky to see what Rick would have done, especially if the group got hungry enough to where you had people starving to death in Alexandria. Then things might be a little bit different. You may see some more governor-type-esque behavior from Rick, I think, just out of kind of necessity to care for his people and feed his people. I don't think it's totally out of the question now that you could consider him to be doing some things like that. So in terms of kind of character kill count between the both, I mean, all Negan's really going to do, so far as we know, is kill one of them. That's what he said. Now, some people think maybe, and I've heard people talk about this in comments for months now, maybe he killed 2. Maybe it won't be Glenn, maybe it'll be 2 other characters. Somebody messaged me saying, well, maybe it'll be, Abraham and Michonne or something. No spoilers or anything like that. We don't know for sure. It's at this point. It seemed like Glenn was most likely. Now it's like, I don't know, because it seems like Stephen Yeun is still going to filming and everything. So who knows? It's really hard to tell. But, it seems like he's only going to kill 1 so far. We'll see in season 7 if that's not the case. But Rick and the group have killed so many Negan's people. Now, Negan's group, the Saviors, were kind of the instigator because they did kind of, I guess you could say, attack or force almost force Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha to give up what they had and bring them back to Alexandria. So it could have been worse. And Negan is the one who, of course, set up this system that the Saviors work under, which is to basically, instead of killing people and just taking their stuff like the wolves would do, to force them to work for him. So turn them into slaves, pretty much. Or at least give them a 9 to 5 and, threaten to kill them if they quit. It's pretty much slavery. It's pretty close. I think it's kind of accepted, just kind of right off the bat that we usually follow in series the protagonist. But I will say, after the episode, of course, in the second half where Rick and the group attack the outpost, and they kill just so many of the Saviors, I think it kind of blurs the lines a bit, and I think that it's pretty interesting to see that if you look at the death count, Rick has killed like so many. I've heard people say 50, some people say a few dozen, this kind of thing, and the group have done that. And then, of course, on the other hand, Negan and the Saviors have are only really going to kill, well, they kill Denise, and then, of course, Negan himself is going to kill one rather than killing them all. And Rick, I would think in that case, if it was the opposite, and Rick was able to capture Negan with maybe, a dozen or 11 other members, I think he would kill them all. Every single one of them, like he did at the Outpost. So that's kind of an interesting way to think about it. So it's kind of like in this case, there isn't really a good guy and a bad guy in The Walking Dead anymore. It's kind of a little bit more like Breaking Bad or this kind of deal. You really just have kind of natural people, natural characters that are naturally evolving in the world, doing things they obviously don't want to do, don't want to have to do. And I don't think we can say that the survivors are really, just good guys anymore. At least not 100%. It's like what Shane said. There's so many really awesome lines that Rick and Shane have back and forth. You can't expect to be the good guy anymore and live. And Rick accepts it himself way back in season 2 that he's not the good guy anymore. And at this point, I mean, you can obviously see that. So I wanted to start with that. I think that's kind of an interesting insight that maybe Negan really isn't the bad guy here. It's just that he's kind of we kind of would accept that, but based on what Rick has done and the kill count, I think it blurs the lines quite a bit, and it makes it an interesting conversation. More like there are no real bad guys, there are no real villains, so to speak, but there are just people, in that world that have changed in a certain way that's led them to do crazy things like this. So interesting. Anyway, write your comments below about that one, and we'll do some more of your guys' questions. The next one's from TheDiegoTuber, and he says, "Hey Trev, what season do you think we will see the Whispers War?" So I've checked the trades, 3.5. You guys know the formula that I found to be mostly true last couple seasons. And it looks like probably season 10, but if they add in quite a bit of filler, like the sickness arc from the prison, then we could be looking at season like 11 or 12, depending on how much filler they decide to put in or new content they decide to put in. Maybe I shouldn't use the word filler, but you guys get the idea. So probably about that. So I'm excited to see that too. It should be another one. I did see some people in the comments of the video that they said they're kind of tired of the whole group versus group war thing. And, we saw a little bit of a few characters trying to kill Rick there with the betrayed 150 event. So we've seen some other things, in between. And we've had, Carl going back and forth and, having this relationship. So there's been a lot of different little things happening in between. But I personally like to see the wars. I like to see everything kind of come to a climax. And I think that you are seeing a little bit of kind of the drama as well too. You got Negan, who of course has escaped and switched sides, so to speak. So I think that adds another interesting element to it too. And we're getting to see more of the Whispers now as well, more of their members and stuff, of their beta members that are a little bit more, some of them more interesting than the others. So I'm excited to hell for it. I don't know, but apparently maybe some people just feel like maybe it's a little repetitive or something. I'm not sure, but it's kind of like that's kind of the story that it is. And I think Kirkman does a great job of keeping it interesting and coming up with new and exciting, characters and groups, and if you want to call them villains in that the world. I think he does a really good job of keeping it interesting after 150 issues. I still look forward to it all the time. Ever since I started reading it, like before, around issue like 30 or 40 when those were being released. So yeah, I still enjoy it, maybe even more so than back then. So it's what it is. But everyone's got different taste. Next one's from Conor Medlyn and SpaghettiGamer in brackets. It's funny, SpaghettiGamer. Hey Trev, could you do an updated version of what you would do if a zombie apocalypse happened, bearing in mind what's in the Walking Dead to help? Because I think your last one was 4 years ago, or at least a while ago. And great point, brother. So that's absolutely true. There's a lot this summer. I'm going to do a lot. And somebody also asked me, am I going to take a break after Fear of the Walking Dead ends, that kind of thing. No, I pretty much make videos, about as many as I can do. Sometimes I have to take like a couple days off or a day or something because I'm just tired. But I pretty much, go all the way through the year. In summer, I still make videos too. And definitely this year, I'm going to probably look at some of the old topics I used to do, like maybe a collection update, that kind of thing. Use I got a camcorder I can use for show you guys the backdrop. Some people want to see the backdrop more more in detail. And, just some stuff that I've done and kind of, updated after 4 years or 3 years or however long it's been. Definitely there's some different topics. That one's not bad, but I've done it a couple times. So I don't know if I'm going to do that one for you, Connor, but definitely there'll be stuff that I haven't done for a while that I'll do again, or focus a little bit more on the comics, that kind of thing, and do some more top 5s, top 10s, the regular stuff, guys. Maybe I shouldn't say that because a lot of the viewers are kind of new. I've noticed that over the years, some of the older viewers kind of they're not so interested in Walking Dead anymore, and then there's new ones who come in. So to do a video again, or kind of update a video that I did 4 years ago, makes a lot of sense when the audience has changed so much in the last 4 years. Next one's from Matt, Spider-Man Thornton, and he says, "Greetings from the UK, Trev. Love your Walking Dead / Fear the Walking Dead vids, and look forward to seeing more in Season 7's debut." I can't wait, man. I'm so excited too. Whilst we're on the subject of zombies, I have a question. Have you seen the Netflix series IZombie? And if so, what are your thoughts on it? So I thought I'd throw this one in here. Why not? I think it's pretty clever. I think it's pretty funny, to be honest. But it's not... That's... The CW shows... Oh, man, I really want to like them. And if I had more time on my hands, I'd probably watch them week to week and maybe even do videos on them. But because I'm so strapped for time and I want to make videos with you guys and want to do topics like this and everything, it limits my ability to really get into some other shows. It's a fun show. It's got some comedy mixed in and some kind of likable characters. But it's not kind of at that kind of level that I would, really, really get into it, like Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, Fear the Walking Dead, Mr. Robot, shows like this, or for me, DBZ. I know a lot of people are not into that. But yeah, so for me, it's okay, but it's not fantastic. It's kind of like Arrow and Flash. I'll watch them. I like DC a lot, and I have like a huge DC collection. I have figures of all those characters pretty much, except for Liz, because iZombie's not. I don't think they've ever made one, or maybe they just make one now. I'm not into it, but yeah, there's a limit to how many shows I can get into. Next one's from Alpha Wolf, and he says, "Hey Trev, what's up?" Or he says, "Hi Trev, hi Trev. I was wondering, since the Walking Dead season 6 finale is over, does that mean that the car witnessed, this is a good one, in the background of the mid-season premiere was a mistake?" So, okay, they did mention after that the girls there, what are their name? I can't think of the top of my head. In the same boat with Carol and Maggie there, that they kind of knew that those that they were the ones that killed. So that's a tough one. When I first saw it, I thought it was a mistake because it looked like it was so minuscule that, like that it shouldn't be there. But if it was, they might have just edited it out. So it seems to me like we should assume at this point that it was a spotter for the Saviors that spotted what happened and went to report back and was not to engage. That was kind of the strategy, which it makes a lot of sense. They certainly have a lot of people, so it wouldn't be outside the realm of possibility to think that they do have people, distance out, and if something happens or, something happens with a certain group, that they might have someone just kind of watch and see what happens, maybe even through binoculars or something like that, just in case. Because it is dangerous, trying to force other survivors that have been in the zombie apocalypse for so long now, because some of them are going to be pretty tough. Next one's from EXM, and he says, "Hey Trev, how do you think Morgan Jones will die? I really love Morgan. He's my favorite character. I can't picture him dying. I just can't. What do you think is in for him in the future? Where do you think his story is going? Thanks for all the great videos, bro. Peace." And yeah, I think I'll wrap it up with this one for today's questions. So Morgan is definitely a huge question mark because we don't know, based on the comic book series, really anything about how long he's going to survive for. It's going to be a totally different version than the comic version. We know that already. So with him, it depends on. They're doing 16 episodes a season, and I think having characters like him, Carol, Daryl, they're your A-listers, but they're not Rick, they're not Carl. So it is good to have other characters like that because they can go kind of on their own direction, their own path. They can be out there in the world, Carol wanting to do something, Morgan going after her, and they can have their own kind of separate story going concurrently with the others that are happening at the same time in another location with Negan and Something to Fear and everything. So it is really good to have an actor like Lenny James, who's so skilled and so good, and to fill out the season and to fill out those episodes. Same with Norman Reedus too. So that's maybe why we haven't seen as many deaths as you would expect us to have back in season 3, where you had, like lots of character deaths in one season. You had the death of like, Lori, Andrea, T-Dog, like just a lot, very death heavy season with some huge main character deaths. It seems as the series kind of goes through, they're still going to have some, but a lot of it's going to be newer characters that come in, and then every once in a while mix in kind of a big character death. Like we'll probably see in the season 7 premiere. But I think Morgan should be safe for at least a little while, at least maybe a couple seasons or something. Maybe we should expect like every one season to get like a big character death, or maybe every other season, because they want the series to go for a long time. And he's a great actor, man, and I love that he's finally kind of committed to Walking Dead rather than having all these other projects that may or may not work out for shows like Low Winter Sun, which I checked out and I was like, it's good, but you didn't do Walking Dead because of this. Like Walking Dead is a huge show. So hopefully a really long time. I think it'll last at least a couple more seasons. I'd be pretty surprised if he's killed in season 7. I think he'd be like a season 8 or season 9 type character. Plus, he's just changed recently too, so it's fun. I like what Gimple did with him to kind of bring him, like he was so far this way and he brought him back too far that way, and now it's like somewhere in the middle. You can't be all black and white one way or another. You got to be somewhere gray, right? Again, that comes back to kind of being a normal person in The Walking Dead, being like a normal person in the real world. These black and white kind of, sort of a simple type of people don't really exist. I mean, not to say that people can't live, be totally crazy or totally, but there's usually, most people are a shade of gray with regards to, what they do and how they live their lives. So that's general on purpose. That'll be it for today's Q&A, guys. If you like the video, please thumb it up below. You can also share and favorite as usual. And if you're new and you want to subscribe, you can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this video today. Of course, see you guys tomorrow night for the Fear the Walking Dead reviews, Game of Thrones reviews, predictions, all the usual stuff, guys, mid-season finale. So excited for that. Maybe I'll do another Q&A for that before tomorrow night. That's it for this video. See you guys again tomorrow. It's Trev. I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See ya.